Do you feel like your wife's emotional state is always your responsibility? We're here to unpack this complex issue. Stay tuned as we uncover the manipulative use of guilt in relationships and how to recognize its signs. 1. Chronic reminders of your past mistakes. This is when your partner repeatedly mentions old errors or missteps you've made, not as a way of addressing unresolved issues, but as leverage to influence your current behavior. If she keeps a mental ledger of your faults and brings them up whenever she wants something from you, it suggests a manipulative tactic rather than an attempt to heal or improve the relationship. This can create a dynamic where you're made to feel perpetually in her debt, leading you to comply with her wishes out of guilt rather than genuine desire or agreement. 2. Overstating her contributions. You might notice your partner amplifies the efforts and sacrifices she's made for the relationship or family, painting a picture that she's the only one putting in the work. This one-sided narrative can make you feel as if your own contributions are insignificant in comparison, leading to a sense of indebtedness. The underlying message is that you're falling short and must compensate for this perceived imbalance by meeting her expectations or demands. This tactic can instill an ongoing sense of guilt, prompting you to do more just to feel like an equal partner. 3. Undermining your feelings. Does your partner minimize or trivialize your emotions by comparing them to her own experiences or the things she's done for you? She might suggest that your feelings are invalid or overblown in light of her perceived greater struggles or contributions. This tactic can make you doubt the legitimacy of your emotions and over time instill a sense of guilt for even having them. It's a way of shifting the emotional hierarchy so that her feelings come first and yours are sidelined, which can suppress your ability to express yourself freely in the relationship. 4. Victim playing. When she consistently casts herself as the wronged party or victim, regardless of the situation's relevance to her, it can be a manipulation tactic to induce guilt. By framing herself as perpetually aggrieved or harmed, she creates a story where you're positioned as the offender by default. This can compel you to constantly seek her forgiveness or work to amend supposed wrongs, even when you're not at fault. It's a strategy that shifts the focus from genuine resolution to a dynamic where you feel perpetually responsible for her emotional state. 5. Conditional forgiveness. When she forgives your mistakes, but later resurrects them at opportune moments to get what she wants, it suggests her forgiveness comes with strings attached. This behaviour makes her pardon feel like a bargaining chip, rather than a genuine release of grievance. Each time she brings up past errors of leverage, it reinforces the idea that her forgiveness is not truly unconditional, but rather a tool used to influence your future behaviour or decisions. It's a subtle form of emotional accounting where debts from wrongdoing are never fully cleared, keeping you in a cycle of trying to make amends. 6. Emotional blackmail. When she responds to your actions with exaggerated emotional reactions, such as excessive crying or displays of sadness, it may be a deliberate tactic to invoke guilt. These intense emotional displays can be strategically used to trigger your empathy and provoke feelings of remorse, leading you to alter your behaviour or choices to avoid causing further distress. This manipulative use of emotion essentially holds your feelings hostage, compelling you to prioritise her emotional well-being over your own autonomy, often resulting in decisions that favour her desires or alleviate the discomfort your guilt brings, rather than what you might truly want or believe is right. 7. Comparison to others. Frequent unfavourable comparisons to others can be a manipulative tool where she points out how other husbands or partners behave, insinuating that you're not measuring up. This tactic plays on insecurity and guilt, as it implies a deficiency on your part for failing to reach an implied benchmark of behaviour or achievement. By positioning these comparisons as shortcomings, she may be aiming to manipulate you into changing your behaviour to align with these external standards. It's a way to induce guilt about not fulfilling certain roles, often leading to an internal pressure to improve based on her criteria of comparison. 8. Rejecting efforts. This situation describes a never-ending cycle where your efforts, regardless of their extent, are met with criticism or deemed insufficient. She may imply or state outright that your actions don't reflect an adequate level of care or effort. This constant undermining can cause you to question the worth of your contributions and feel guilty, which motivates you to work harder because you think you are falling short of expectations. It's a form of emotional manipulation that can wear down your self-esteem and skew the relationship dynamic towards her benefit, often at the expense of your own well-being. 9. Manipulative questions. When she poses questions that seem rigged to make you feel guilty, such as, "Don't you care about us?" it's a tactic that traps you between a rock and a hard place. These loaded questions are crafted in such a way that any answer you give could be twisted to affirm her point or paint you in a negative light. The intent is not to seek honest communication, but to elicit guilt and self-doubt. It's a psychological maneuver that leverages the implied accusation within the question, ensuring that you end up feeling guilty regardless of how you respond. 10. Making you earn approval. She might set up a dynamic where her approval or affection is like a prize that you're always reaching for, but rarely grasping. This approval is doled out sparingly, making you strive harder to please her. When it's withheld, you're left feeling guilty, wondering what you did wrong or what you didn't do enough of. This can become a form of control, as you might change your behaviour, suppress your own needs, or overextend yourself in hopes of gaining her favour. It's a way of keeping you off balance and perpetually focused on meeting her expectations. 11. Withdrawal of affection. In this manipulative pattern, affection becomes a currency she manages, offering it when you're in alignment with her wishes and retracting it when you're not. By treating warmth and closeness as conditional, she implies that your worthiness of affection is tied to agreement or compliance. Disagreements or independent choices on your part are met with emotional coldness, signalling that you've somehow failed a test. This tactic can lead you to associate her affection with correct behaviour, pushing you to avoid conflict or suppress your own views in fear of losing her emotional support. 12. Irrational attribution of blame. When she irrationally attributes blame, it involves holding you accountable for circumstances beyond your influence or for her overall dissatisfaction, insinuating that you are failing in your duty to keep her content. This tactic can place an unreasonable burden on you to rectify every negative aspect of her life, regardless of its origin. It's a method that can make you feel perpetually guilty for not doing enough to fix things, even when they're not fixable by you. This kind of blame game is a manipulation strategy designed to keep you in a constant state of trying to appease her. 13. Gifts with strings attached. When she presents gifts or favours that are implicitly transactional, the gesture is tainted with an unspoken obligation. These offerings are not given freely, but are laden with the anticipation of a specific return on her investment. Should you fail to reciprocate in the manner she expects, whether that's through actions, decisions, or emotional responses, she leverages your sense of indebtedness to induce guilt. This tactic transforms what should be acts of kindness into tools of manipulation, subtly binding you to a cycle of repayment that is dictated by her terms rather than genuine generosity. 14. Utilising children as leverage. Using children as leverage involves her insinuation or direct assertion that your actions or decisions are detrimental to the children's well-being. She might claim that you're not involved enough or that your choices are selfish, using the children's welfare as a bargaining chip to sway your behaviour. This tactic is designed to tap into a deep vein of guilt, as most parents instinctively want to do what's best for their children. By positioning you as failing in this regard, she aims to manipulate you into compliance with her wishes, under the guise of what's supposedly best for the kids. 15. Isolation from others. Isolation from others as a control mechanism involves her discouraging your interactions with friends and family by suggesting that these activities mean you're shirking family responsibilities. This tactic is designed to induce guilt when you seek to maintain personal relationships or hobbies that don't include her. The underlying message is that your autonomous pursuits are selfish or damaging to family dynamics, which can lead you to withdrawing from social networks and independent interests. This form of manipulation aims to narrow your world to the confines of the relationship, increasing your dependence on her and her perceived view of commitment. Understanding the signs of a narcissistic wife can be eye-opening. Are you ready to learn more? Watch our video on how to reclaim your emotional independence from a narcissistic wife to regain control of your emotions, or discover the ways a narcissistic wife invalidates your feelings to deepen your understanding. Thank you for watching. Your support through likes, comments and subscriptions is greatly appreciated. Now, pick your next video and continue your journey.